Section 5, I look at the title, and it kind of fits, but not a ton. Basically, evaluating expressions means here's a whole bunch of numbers, get the answer. Like, combine all the numbers and figure out what one number does that equal. So that's kind of the evaluating expressions. Using integers are just numbers with no decimals, so we're not going to apply you with decimals in this section. But we really have two things we're looking at. One is order of operations, which you guys have been doing for years, right? Mm-hmm. So for that, if you want to write out the please, excuse, you could if you want to. I'd recommend, if you're going to do that though, like last year, I recommend doing my and dear like one above the other, because it's not like it's always the multiplication and then the division. It's multiplication and division together going left to right. But then same thing, I'm going to do A-N-T for ant just because I like the mental picture. You have a little ant on a leash and you're saying, please excuse my dear aunt named Sally. Okay, so that's, I don't know what it's called. The first letters stand for something. That's called something in English. P stands for parentheses. E stands for exponents. And I'm just going to do the signs for the next four. M is, so I'm going to do an X, and right below it, going to do the little division symbol. And then A and S would be adding and subtracting. And that when you evaluate an expression, or when you try to cram a whole bunch of numbers together, so like for this one, we're going to figure out, does that equal 37? Does that equal something different? When we try to get this down to one number, we have to go through and do them in that order. Maybe I'll say when evaluating. If this doesn't make sense, you really could just skip it, I suppose, but when evaluating an expression. In other words, if you're not solving for a variable, you're not trying to get x equals something, you're just trying to figure out what number is that equal to the whole thing, then you do parentheses first, then exponents, then multiply, divide together, then add, subtract together. For these, if you show some work, it can help me give you partial credit if you make a mistake. Yeah, it's up to you. I'm going to rewrite the order of operations bit. And usually when I rewrite it, I just do P-E-M-D-A-S like that. So I'm going to have that in front of me. If you make mistakes, you might want to consider doing that somewhere on your page as you work through these. Totally up to you. All right, but when we do this first one, so we have to start with parentheses. We have this 6 plus 2 in the parentheses. We have to do that first because that's my P step. 6 plus 2 is 8. So these two together is 8. And then I have this plus 5 after it. I have this 8 in front. The sign right here is times. Yep. They didn't put a sign here. If it had been addition up above, you'd have to have a plus sign. If it's multiplication, they don't have to write anything in. So I'm going to do one of those kind of dots in the middle for multiplication. So we did the parentheses. Exponents are next. We don't have any exponents. So now we're to the multiply and divide.
64.
Perfect. So 8 times 8 is 64. And we have the plus 5. And then, so that's done. Now we do adding and subtracting, and we get 69. Heard it from somebody. I would highly recommend working vertically like this. I'm still seeing some people in my classes that they work horizontally, so they have this, then they write the next step here, then they write the next step there. I think if you do it vertically, it's a lot easier to keep track. Like these two just become the 8, and then you copy these down. These two together become the 64, so it's kind of like these two. Copy the 5. As you get to bigger, more complex problems, people that are organized and people that are neat and people that work vertically tend to do better. You just, to the point where you can't do the sloppy work anymore because you're not doing 4th grade math, you're doing 8th grade math. All right, the next one. Next one we have, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You're welcome to work ahead if you want. I'm going to kind of talk my way through it, but totally up to you if you want to stick together. So parentheses, we have to take care of this first. So all this is my parentheses. Got to get this down to one number. As far as order we do these inside the parentheses. So I first have to do my exponent. 5 squared is 25. Now, I would probably combine a couple steps into one. I'm going to just kind of do it in a whole bunch of steps, just so I don't lose people. But I can see where you would want to not write this here and just write this next line, so you kind of skip a step. But next, we're still working inside parentheses. So we did the exponent in parentheses. Now we have to multiply and divide. So I have a 25 minus 8. Because I either have subtraction here or I have multiplication there. I have to do my multiplication division. I have to do that right there before I can do the subtraction. All right, so then I'm going to have a 4 plus 3 times all of that. Now, last but not least, I'm in my parentheses still, but I can do my addition, subtraction. And I get close to that. It's 17. So I'm going to copy everything else down. I still have my 4. I still have my plus 3. This here becomes my 17. Second to last step. Do I do my 4 plus 3 or do my 3 times 17? Yep. Because we did all of our parentheses, did all of our exponents. Now we're to the multiply and divide. And I get a 51. So 3 times 10 is 30, plus 3 times 7 is 21. So 51 plus 4. And last but not least, we can say the final answer is 55. I can't drive. 55. Yeah. Ooh, wrong note on that one, but it's an 80 song, sorry. Okay, I'm old. Okay, you guys okay on that one at least?
Yeah.
But if you do the steps, so distributive property is going to especially come up later. Now they're kind of it's helpful in kind of two ways, but more down the road you need to use it. It's used when you have a number, parentheses, or number times parentheses, a number plus a number inside. Or if we had a subtraction right here, a number minus a number inside. I'm going to write that this way. I'm going to do a little plus or minus on the inside. So it's used when you have, kind of like here, a number times parentheses, and then something that's added together inside or something that's subtracted inside. Fair enough? The reason you need this later on, now it's just kind of helpful sometimes. Later on you're going to need it. Well, normal people would look at this problem here and they'd say 3 plus 5 is 8, 4 times 8 is, so our answer is 32, yes? The problem is, later on, you're going to see where we have a 4 times and then an x plus 5. Can you combine the x plus 5 like we did the 3 and the 5? No, you can't add an x and a 5 together, so then you have to do distributive. So we're kind of learning it now with numbers, and there is a benefit to it, but we're somewhat learning it, so when you start throwing x's at you, you're just like, oh, I've been doing that. So, okay. If you want to do that with distributive, we have 4 times 3, technically a positive 4 times a positive 3, and we have a positive 4 times a positive 5, yes? So positive 4 times positive 3 is 12, or a positive 12. Positive 4 times a positive 5 is
20.
Positive 20. So positive 20 degree, you put a plus right there. And now just the 12 plus 20 gives us the 32. So you're going to have some questions in the homework that say, do this problem 2 ways. One way they want you to do it is like I did the second way here where we do distributive. Get this, get your answer. Then the other way is what I didn't write before, but the other way would be like 4 times 3 plus 5 is 8. So then that's 32. So that's kind of what they mean in the homework when they say do it 2 ways. Fair enough?
Yep.
On the back side, here's a way that can be nice. I tried to do more and more math in my head as I taught longer, and I actually improved a lot, or I am improving still, and being able to do math in my head. But I found when I first tried to do this, like 4 times a 97, I'd try to do like the way that I learned it back in the day. So I'd picture like a 97 and a 4. Okay, so then I do my 4 times my 7, and that's 28. So I have my last digit's an 8, and then I have like a 2 there, and then a 4 times 9, so 36. But then what number did I put a 2? So that's 38. So I'd try to do it that way in my head, yes? But sometimes I'd like get to my 4 times 9, then it's like, oh, what was that number there? And I couldn't remember the number there. Or if I had like a 24 times 97, you know, it's you kind of crash and burn. So I found doing it this way, they call it chunking, is sometimes easier. That instead of looking at it as though it's 4 times 97, I want to put in here something with a plus or something with a minus that equals 97. One way that you could do that would be to 97 is really close to 100. So you agree, I could replace 97 with 100 minus 3. And this I can actually do in my head easier than trying to do this thing over here on the side. Because 4 times 100 is 400. And 4 times a negative 3 is 12, or a negative 12. So really it's just 400 minus 12, which is 388. Yes? So that's like another way to do the multiplication that might be easier than like flipping to a calculator or trying to think it through this way. I had someone in my other class a couple hours ago, they had a way that didn't do subtraction. Because you agree adding is easier than subtraction? So a totally different way you could do it if you wanted to, and maybe I'll switch to a purple color for that. They looked at this as instead of this one, I'm just going to try to totally separate it. They looked at it as though 97 is really 90 plus 7. Yes? 4 times 90 is kind of a pain, but what's 4 times 9?
36.
36. So 4 times 9 is 36.
360.
4 times 90 would be 360. So this times this is my 360. 4 times 7 is positive 28. So now you need to do 360 plus 28, which is 388. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to do the subtraction.
Wait, who said that?
Luke. Yep, he came up with that. And, but makes sense? So that's a way you could try to do more of these numbers in your head.